Hello, my wonderful, beautiful bookish friends, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I am Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, and today I'm going to tell you about the books that I'm most looking forward to in Q1, that's January, February, and March of 2024. These are mostly thriller and horror books. Some of them lean towards a little bit more speculative. That's just generally my taste. If it's feminist, if it's horror, if it's thriller, I'm here for it. Get out your pens, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, whatever you need to do to start writing some stuff down and looking up some books, because I'm about to give you 27 books that are coming out in the next 3 months that I'm interested in. Will I read all of these? Probably not, but I'm interested in it. Some of them are like on the cusp. If I hear good reviews, then yes, I will. Others are, yes, absolutely, I must read this. But these are just to give you a general gist of what to expect in the coming months in the thriller and horror book release world. I will separate these into chapters down below to make it a little bit easier for you to navigate this video. I'm also going to post my other social medias right over here if you're interested in checking me out over there. Also, I always have my link tree in the description below that has all of the links to my book club, my Instagram, my YouTube, TikTok, all of the things. So if you're interested, check that out and follow me over there as well. I am going to tell you about these books in order of release date. So we'll start with January and then February and March. I'll also add the date next to the book when I pop it up here. So that way if you want to take a screenshot or whatever so that it makes it easier for you to remember, you can do that, and then also have the date that it's released. Okay, well, let's get into it. Like I said, there are 27 for Q1, so here we go. We're going to start on January 2nd. This book is called The Ascent. This is by Plantinga. I've never heard of this author before, but the description sounded good, so I put it on here. For fans of Lee Child and Harlan Coben, Kurt Argento, an ex-Detroit street cop, I like the Detroit rep in here, I am from Detroit if y'all don't know, who can't let injustice go and who has the fighting skills to back up his idealism. Okay. If he sees a young girl being dragged into an alley, he's going to rescue her and cause some damage. When he does just that, in a small, corrupt Missouri town, he's brutally beaten and thrown into a maximum security prison. Julie Rakefield, a graduate student who happens to be the governor's daughter, is about to take a tour of the prison. But when a malfunction in the security system releases a horde of prisoners, a fierce struggle for survival ensues. Argento must help a small band of staff and civilians, including Julie, make their way from the bottom floor to the roof to safety. All that stands in their way are 6 floors of the most dangerous convicts in Missouri. This is 352 pages, and again, that comes out January 2nd. This next one is listed as its main category being thriller, and then mystery fiction, adult crime. This is called Midnight by Amy McCulloch. It looks like a fairly vague description. When she's gifted a once-in-a-lifetime Antarctic cruise, Olivia has never been anywhere so spectacular. Huge cliffs of ice loom up to the sky, and the sun never sets. And there's a killer on board, so we're getting isolation here, which is a unique type of isolation in the middle of the ocean, which I don't read a whole lot of, so I'm excited for this. Unable to sleep in the endless, eerie daylight, Olivia has no idea who she can trust, and if she can't figure it out soon, she won't make it back alive. Matt Haig says this is a high-altitude, high-stakes thriller. It looks like this already came out in overseas in June of 2023. So we'll have to see. It looks like the ratings as of now, out of 436 ratings, it has a 3.58, which is a little lower than I'd like to see, but could still be great. Now we're skipping to January 16th. This next book is categorized as horror, adult fiction, mystery, fantasy, contemporary, mystery, thriller. So it seems like it may be kind of genre bending, but I like that the first description is horror. This is called This Wretched Valley by Jenny Kiefer. This cover, by the way, is absolutely stunning. Love the vibes that we're getting off the bat. It says 4 ambitious climbers hike into the Kentucky wilderness. 7 months later, 3 mangled bodies are discovered. Okay. Were their deaths simple accidents or the result of something more sinister?
Who made it back?
That's my question. This nail-biting, bone-chilling survival horror novel is inspired by the infamous Dyatlov Pass incident and is perfect for fans of Almakatsu and Showtime's Yellow Jackets. Shut up. That's why I put this on here. Yellow Jackets I loved. This is going to be Dylan's big break. Her friend Clay, a geology student, has discovered an untouched cliff face in the Kentucky wilderness, and she is going to be the first person to climb it. Together with Clay, his research assistant Sylvia, and Dylan's boyfriend Luke, she is going to document her achievement on Instagram and finally cement her place as the next rising star in rock climbing. 7 months later, 3 bodies are discovered in the trees just off the highway. All are in various states. One body a stark white skeleton, the second emptied of its organs, and the third a mutilated corpse with the tongue, eyes, ears, and fingers removed. But Dylan is still missing. Followers of her Instagram account report seeing disturbing live streams, and some even claim to have caught glimpses of her vanishing into the thick woods. But no trace of her, dead or alive, has been discovered. Were the climbers murdered? Did they succumb to cannibalism? Or are their impossible bodies the work of an even more sinister force? Is Dylan still alive, and does she hold the answers? Yeah, that sounds great. January 16th. That's the day after my birthday. Capricorn season is here. Okay, January 30th is my next book. This one is categorized as horror as well, paranormal, also thriller and mystery. This is by Christopher Golden. I've still yet to read a book by this author, but I've heard good things. It's called The House of Last Resort. Says this is a high-concept horror novel. Across Italy, there are many half-empty towns nearly abandoned by those who migrate to the coast or to cities. The beautiful, crumbling hilltop town of Bacina is among them. Bacina, I'm so sorry. But its mayor has taken drastic measures to rebuild, selling abandoned homes to anyone in the world for €1. As long as the buyer promises to live there for at least 5 years. Interesting. I might get hooked into something like that. It's a no-brainer for American couple Tommy and Kate. Both work remotely, and Bacina is the home of Tommy's grandparents, his closest living relatives. It feels like a romantic adventure, an opportunity the young couple would be crazy not to seize. But from the moment they move in, they both feel a shadow has fallen on them. Tommy's grandmother is furious, even a little frightened when she realizes which house they've bought. There are rooms in an annex at the back of the house that they did not know were there. The place makes strange noises at night, locked doors are suddenly open, and when they go to a family gathering, they're certain people are whispering about them and about their house, which one neighbor refers to as the House of Last Resort, hence the title. Soon they learn that the home was owned for generations by the church, but the real secret and the true dread is unlocked when they finally learn what the priests were doing in this house for all those long years. Oh, geez. And how many people died in the strange chapel inside. While down in the catacombs beneath Bacina, something stirs. I wonder if this is going to be more cosmic. The energy that I'm getting from this is like that Chuck Wendig book. This one. You know what I mean? So we'll see. And it does say paranormal, so we'll see about that. Next on January 30th, this book is categorized as horror as well, mystery, thriller, fiction, and adult mystery. And this is by Emily Ruth Verona. Again, I don't know this author. This cover is stunning, and I'm immediately sucked in. It's called Midnight on Beacon Street. One night, one house, one dead body. Okay. A suspenseful and entertaining debut thriller. Okay, so this is a debut. And a love letter to vintage horror movies in which a teenager must overcome her own anxiety to protect the 2 children she's babysitting when strangers come knocking at the door. Okay, so this is giving classic horror vibes. October 1993. Love that this is set in the 90s. No cell phones in here. When single mom Eleanor Mazinski goes out for a much-needed date night. She leaves her 2 young children, sweet innocent 6-year-old Ben and precocious, defiant 12-year-old Mira, in the capable hands of their sitter, Amy. The quiet 17-year-old is good at looking after children despite her anxiety disorder. She also loves movies, especially horror flicks. Amy likes their predictability. It calms the panic that threatens to overwhelm her. I really like this sentiment because I feel like that's part of the reason I love horror, is that it gives me control over my anxiety. If I am in control of it, then I can stop it at any moment. It gives me a sense of agency that I don't feel like I necessarily have in real life. So if this is going to touch on that kind of mental health issue and awareness of that, I think that could be really cool. The evening starts out normally with games of pizza and dancing, but as darkness falls, events in this quaint suburban New Jersey house take a terrifying turn. Unexpected visitors at the door, mysterious phone calls, and by midnight, little Ben is in the kitchen, standing in a pool of blood with a dead body at his feet. Wow. Okay, 208 pages, so it's actually quite short as well. Sounds great. Again, on January 30th, this one I'm a little bit on the fence about. This is actually a sequel. I did read the first one. This is a mystery, but I don't know that I loved it as much as some other people did. And so, I don't know. We'll see. This is Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson, and he wrote Everyone in My Family is a Murderer, which I read last year and liked, but it does this kind of, the way it's narrated, it's very quirky and it breaks the fourth wall where the narrator is talking directly to you. It felt a little bit cheesy to me at times, but it was a fun ride and it was full of good twists. He clearly knows how to write a mystery, and this does harken back to like Agatha Christie, but a little bit more quirky and modern. This says it's for fans of Richard Osman and Anthony Horowitz. A fiendishly fun locked room murder mystery from the author of the indie darling Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. That's what it's called. This time set on a train full of mystery writers, agents, editors, and fans. Ernest Cunningham returns in a deliciously witty locked room train mystery. Locked room, I'm always there for. So this is Ernest Cunningham is the main character, the narrator. The narrator. It's making me more British. Of Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. So this is his kind of detective mystery, I guess. Okay, the program is a who's who of crime writing royalty. The debut writer says, in parentheses, me. So I'm guessing that's Ernest Cunningham. The forensic science writer, the blockbuster writer, the legal thriller writer, the literary writer, and the psychological suspense writer. But one of us is murdered, and the remaining authors quickly turn into 5 detectives. Together, we should know how to solve a crime. How can you find a killer when all of the suspects know how to get away with murder? I mean, it sounds good. That's 336 pages. This has already come out in the UK in October and is being published in the US January 30th. I have one more book in January. I believe this one again is a mystery. Let me see. But it certainly looks like a mystery. This is called The Concierge by Abby Corson. And this comes out on January 31st. It says, I suppose it would be fitting to explain that I am talking into a dictaphone and the lovely Helen will be typing out my story for you to read. So again, it seems like this is going to be breaking that fourth wall. She will have a certain amount of creative control, sorting out moments when I get a bit tongue-tied or slightly muddled. But I have told her to leave in as much as possible so as not to miss any of the important bits. This is my account of the Cavan Green Hotel murder. Best we get that in early on. The peaceful setting of Cavan Green Hotel has been shattered by a shocking murder. Hector Haro, the hotel's concierge, has been accused and is determined to clear his name. Hector enlists the aid of Helen, a retired publisher, to document the shocking crime that has unfolded with the intention of publishing a truthful account. Amid interruptions from a nosy journalist and the egotistical antics of the hotel's new owner, American Dave, Helen works tirelessly to keep Hector focused on finishing the book. As suspicions fall on different guests and one makes a shocking confession, Hector must navigate a web of secrets to uncover the truth. This first book in February is actually one that I have picked for the Midnight Society book club. We're going to be reading this in March. So put it on hold at your libraries if you're interested in reading it with us. And if you're interested in my book club, the Midnight Society book club, it's free. It's online. You just read the book and then you join me for a live show at the end of the month and we talk about it. It's a lot of fun. I'll put the links down below if you're interested. Anyway, this one just sounded so good to me, and so I added it for March's book pick. This comes out February 5th, okay? And this could also be a 5-star prediction for me as well. It's called And Then There Was Silence. This is by Candace Robinson. Our lead character's name is Sadie Hawkins. Kind of a strange name to choose. I'm assuming that is connected somehow. But she wants nothing more than to find success as a screenplay writer. I love following writers and authors. But when she discovers the love of her life hanging from their bedroom ceiling, Sadie gives up on her dreams. Oh, did I mention this is grief horror? So it's going to be kind of heavy. Until she receives an unexpected gift. Sadie has become the sole owner of the cabin in the woods that she always adored. Again, we have isolation. I can't say no to isolation. I just can't. A secluded place where she can resurrect her dreams and drown her sorrows. Yet the woods are not the same. The days are still and lifeless. The shadows seem to follow Sadie, and the air holds the scent of her dead husband. As the days go by, Sadie will either have to accept that her sanity is in jeopardy or uncover the mysteries hidden deep within the past, mysteries more terrifying than she ever imagined. What's interesting is that I've not read from this author before, but it looks like a lot of her past books are just steady in the fantasy genre. And this also says that it's a standalone story perfect for fans of V.E. Schwab, Holly Black, and Mexican Gothic. So I'm like, okay, is there going to be a fantasy element to this? Definitely this cover is giving fantasy vibes. So I really don't know what to expect with that. I think there's going to be some kind of speculative twist in here that does lend to more fantasy, but I do believe that this is meant to be horror because it's exploring that grief. Either way, I'm excited. I'm excited to get into this. February 6th, this is another horror novel set in the Arctic landscape. It says something deadly has lain dormant for thousands of years, but now the permafrost is giving up its secrets. Estranged friends, Dean and Bethan, meet after 5 years apart when they are drawn to a network of caves on a remote Arctic island. Bethan and her friends are environmental activists determined to protect the land. But Dean's group's exploitation of rare earth minerals deep in the caves unleashes a horrific contagion that has rested frozen and undisturbed for many millennia. Fleeing the terrors emerging from the caves, Dean and Bethan and their rival teams undertake a perilous journey on foot across an unpredictable and volatile landscape. The ex-friends must learn to work together again if they are to survive, and more importantly, stop the horror from spreading to the wider world. Okay, it says a propulsive thriller, fast-moving, frightening, and shockingly relevant. This adventure will grip you until the final terrifying page, and that's 368 pages. Next on February 6th, we have Everyone Who Can Forgive Me Is Dead by Jenny Hollander. Again, I've never read from this author, but this sounded really good. What if everything you know about the worst night of your life turns out not to be true? 9 years ago, with the world's eyes on her, Charlie Colbert fled. The press and the police called Charlie a witness to the nightmarish events at her elite graduate school on Christmas Eve. Events known to the public as Scarlet Christmas. The Red Wedding. Though Charlie knows she was much more than a witness. Uh-oh. Now Charlie has meticulously rebuilt her life. She's the editor-in-chief of a major magazine. Well, that's exciting. Engaged to the golden child of the publishing industry. Here for it. And hell-bent on never ever letting her guard down again. But when a buzzy film made by one of Charlie's former classmates threatens to shatter everything she's worked for, Charlie realizes how much she's changed in 9 years. Now, she's not going to let anything, not even the people she once loved most, get in her way. That sounds great. It's 304 pages, which is right in my sweet spot. Excited for that one. All right, again on February 6th, we have Your Shadow Half Remains by Sunny Moraine. One look can kill. Riley Has not seen a single human face in longer than she can reckon. No faces, no eyes, not if you want to survive. But when a new neighbor moves in down the road, Riley's overwhelming need for human contact makes her throw caution to the wind. And somehow, in this world where other people can mean a gruesome, bloody death, Ellis makes her feel safe. As they grow closer, Riley's grip on reality begins to slip and she can no longer fight her deepest desires. All Riley wants to do is look. This is pretty short. It's 176 pages. It says it's horror, queer, and novella. Okay, so it is a novella. I think 200 pages is the cutoff for a novel, if I'm not mistaken. I love that it's queer. What is going on with the fact that she can't look at human faces? It's giving Bird Box. I wonder if it's something similar to that. Interesting. Next, on February 13th, we have a new John Mars, and that is The Stranger in Her House. It says, a stranger has infiltrated your family, and now
he's taking over.
Paul's just here to help, or so he claims. Sent by a charity for vulnerable people to do odd jobs for elderly widow Gwen. But for Gwen's daughter Connie, there's just something about Paul that rings alarm bells from day one. He's a little too kind. He's a little too involved. Worse still, Gwen seems to have fallen under his spell. The last thing Connie wants is a stranger meddling in the safe routine she's built around Gwen. She loves being the one Gwen turns to for cooking, cleaning, and company, but the more Paul visits, the more Gwen is relying on him. By the time he conveniently finds himself between homes and has no choice but to move in, Connie is certain he's trying to push her out completely. It's her word against his, though. And as her attempts to unmask him become ever more desperate, she's not the only one left wondering if she's lost her grip on reality. There's a lot of losing your grip on reality in these. I'm seeing a theme here, which is something that I like to explore, so that makes sense. But when events start spiraling rapidly out of her control, should Connie wage all-out war on Paul and risk losing Gwen forever? Or has that been his plan all along? Next, on February 20th, we have a new BA Paris. It's called The Guest. And I do have the ALC for this one, so I'm excited to get to this one. Hopefully I'll be able to read this and review it for you before it comes out so you know more and if you want to go into it. I've had some really great successes with BA Paris and then some that I've not loved so much, so we'll see where this one falls. It's super British. It says, some secrets never leave, and we're following Iris and Gabriel, and they seem to have it all. They have a beautiful home in the British countryside, a daughter living happily working in Greece, and good friends Laura and Pierre from Paris, who they often vacation with. But when a young man has a tragic accident in a nearby quarry, Gabriel is the one to find him and hear his final words, leaving Gabriel with a guilty burden. This reminds me of another book that I read this year. This one. I can't remember the words and the name, but this one. As Iris tries to ease her husband's trauma, they acquire an unexpected house guest. Laura has seemingly moved in after her husband's revelation that he has had a child with another woman. Oh, no, he didn't. Iris and Gabriel insist Laura stay as long as she needs, of course. But Laura keeps wearing Iris's clothes, following her every move, and asking her about the recent death of a young man. Their only respite from the increasingly tense atmosphere in their own home comes from a couple new to town and expecting their first child, but with them comes their gardener who has a checkered past. With fractured relationships and secrets piling up around them, can Iris and Gabriel's marriage survive? So this is giving domestic thriller. BA Paris tend to be a little bit more slower moving and suspenseful. If she pulls off some really big twists, I would be very happy with that. So we'll see. Next, on February 20th, this is called The Bad Ones. This is by Melissa Albert. Goddess, count to 5 in the morning. Who is alive? In the course of a single winter's night, 4 people vanish without a trace across a small town. Nora's estranged best friend, Becca, is one of the lost. As Nora tries to untangle the truth of Becca's disappearance, she discovers a darkness in her own town's past, as well as a string of coded messages Becca left for her to unravel. These clues lead Nora to a piece of local folklore, a legendary goddess of forgotten origins who played a role in Nora and Becca's own childhood games. It says it's an arresting crossover horror fantasy threaded with dark magic. A poison pen love letter to semi-toxic best friendship. Okay, I love this. The occult power of childhood play and artistic creation and the razor-thin line between make-believe and belief. 400 pages, a little on the longer side. Sounds great though. Next on February 27th, this cover's kind of horrifying. I'm guessing this is horror. Queer horror, yay! This is called Mewing by Chloe Spencer, and it is a novella. Vixen would sell her soul to get into the Bleach Babes, and if she isn't careful, she might get exactly what she wished for. One of the most exclusive influencer co-ops in LA. Okay, now I'm interested. The Bleach Babes live and work together in one big house where they have it all: popularity, talent, and beauty. Their leader, supermodel Margot, a woman as sinister as she is sexy. After Margot agrees to take Vix under her wing and into her bed, Vixen moves in and begins hustling. Success comes hard and fast, but the glitz and glamour comes with a price that may cost her her sanity. Here we go again, sanity. And her life. 110 pages. Sounds great. I will definitely be reading that one. Next, on February 27th, we have Good Half Gone by Tarryn Fisher. I don't believe that I've actually read a Tarryn Fisher. The impression that I've gotten from seeing other reviews of this author's work is that her books are very twisty. I'm getting like Frida McFadden kind of vibes. Oh, it's got twins. Ooh, twins are tough for me. We'll see. Iris Walsh saw her twin sister Piper get kidnapped, so why does no one believe her? Iris narrowly escaped her pretty, popular twin sister's fate as a teen, kidnapped, trafficked, and long gone before the cops agreed to investigate. Okay. Months later, Piper's newborn son, Callum, was dropped on their mother's doorstep in the dead of the night, with a note signed simply, Twin. As an adult, Iris wants one thing: proof, because she knows exactly who took Piper all of those years ago, and she has a pretty good idea of who Callum's father is. She just has to get close enough to prove it. And if the police won't help, she'll just have to do it her own way. By interning at the isolated Shoal Island Hospital for the criminally insane, where her target is kept under lock and key. But Iris soon realizes that something sinister is simmering beneath the surface of the shoal, and that patients aren't the only ones being observed. Okay, now I know why I put this on here. It sounds really good. 304 pages. Next, on February 29th, this one I think is more of a mystery. It's called The Murder After the Night Before. This is by Katy Brent. She also wrote How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. That came out last year, I believe, or the year before, and I did not read that one yet. Something bad happened last night. I've woken up with the hangover from hell, a stranger in my bed, and I've gone viral for the worst reasons, but I can't remember a thing. My best friend Posey is dead. The police think it was a tragic accident, and I know she was murdered. There's only one thing stopping me from dying of shame. I need to find a killer. That's the entire synopsis. 352 pages. I mean, it sounds like it's gonna be one of those funny ones with like dark humor. It's giving, I cannot think of books right now. This one. So we'll see. I didn't love that one quite as much. It was a little bit too kitschy for me, but I might like this one. We'll see. That is it for February. Let's move on to March. Starting off on March 5th, we have Thirst. This is by Marina Yusuk. And this is a translated work, translated by Heather Cleary. Across 2 different time periods, 2 women confront fear, loneliness, and a haunting yearning that will not let them rest. A breakout genre-blurring novel from one of the most exciting new voices of Latin America's feminist Gothic. It is the twilight of Europe's bloody bacchanals, of murder and feasting without end. In the 19th century, so 1800s, a vampire comes from Europe to the coast of Buenos Aires, and for the second time in her life, watches as villages transform into a cosmopolitan city, one that will soon be ravaged by yellow fever. She must adapt, intermingle with humans, and be discreet. In present-day Buenos Aires, a woman finds herself at an impasse as she grapples with her mother's terminal illness and her own relationship with motherhood. When she first encounters the vampire in a cemetery, something ignites within the two women, and they cross a threshold from which there is no turning back. Okay, so I did not realize this was a vampire story. Oh, it does say it has echoes of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and written in the vein of feminist Gothic writers like Shirley Jackson, Daphne du Maurier, and Carmen Maria Machado. Wow, that's quite some comparisons there. Thirst plays with the boundaries of genre while exploring the limits of female agency, the consuming power of desire, and the fragile vitality of even the most immortal of creatures. Nice! And this is queer. And it's listed as horror. 256 pages. Again, that sweet spot. Nice. I'm excited for this one. Next, on March 5th, we have another horror story. I believe this one's paranormal. It's called The Haunting of Velkwood. This is by Gwendolyn Kiste. A chilling novel about three childhood friends who miraculously survive the night everyone in their suburban neighborhood turned into ghosts. Perfect for fans of Yellow Jackets. Again, pulling me in with the Yellow Jackets comp. Like, you got me. The Velkwood vicinity was the topic of occult theorists, tabloid one-hour documentaries, and even some pseudoscientific investigations as the block of homes disappeared behind a near impenetrable veil that only 3 survivors could enter, and only one has in the past 20 years until now. Talitha Velkwood has avoided anything to do with the tragedy that took her mother and 8-year-old sister, drifting from one job to another, never settling anywhere with anyone, feeling as trapped by her past as if she was still in the small town she so desperately wanted to escape from. When a new researcher tracks her down and offers to pay her to come back, Talitha claims she is just doing it for the money. Of all the crackpot theories over the years, no one has discovered what happened the night Talitha, her estranged former best friend Brent, and Grace escaped their homes 20 years ago. Will she finally get the answers she's been looking for all of these years, or is this just another dead end? 256 pages. Again, this one sounds really interesting. Next, on March 12th, this one is just listed as fiction, but it sounded like it was going to have a lot to say, and that piqued my interest. It's called Victim, and this is by Andrew Boryga. It says, there's a fine line between bending the truth and telling bald-faced lies, and Javier Perez is willing to cross it. Javier is a hustler from a family of hustlers. He learns from an early age how to play the game to his own advantage, how his background, murdered drug dealer dad, single cash-strapped mom, best friend serving time for gang activity, becomes a key to the doors he didn't know existed. This kind of story, molded in just the right way, is what college admissions committees are looking for. And a full academic scholarship to a prestigious university brings Javi one step closer to his dream of becoming a famous writer. As a college student, Javi embellishes his life story until there's not even a kernel of truth left. The only real connection to his past is the occasional letter he trades with his childhood best friend, Gio, who doesn't seem to care about Javi's newfound awareness of white privilege or the school-to-prison pipeline. Soon after graduating, a viral essay transforms Javi from a writer on the rise to a journalist at a legendary magazine, where the editors applaud his unique perspective. But Gio, more than anyone, knows who Javi really is and sees through his game. Once he's released from prison and Javi offers to cut him in on the deal, will he play along with Javi's charade, or will it all come crumbling down? 288 pages, March 12th. This one, it says it's literary and satire with black humor. It's critiquing racism and privilege, and there's a lot of big picture things going on in here, so this could be really good. Next, on March 14th, we have The Best Way to Bury Your Husband. This is by Alexia Casale. Sometimes a woman has to take matters into her own hands. Sally never meant to cave her husband's head in with a skillet. Oh gosh, or at least she didn't until suddenly she did. But Sally isn't the only woman in town being pushed to a breaking point. When coincidence brings four strangers together, a surprising solidarity is formed. So can they find the best way to bury their husbands and get away with it? It says this is a thriller, mystery, feminism, cozy mystery. Those are all very kind of different things, but also I get that. And this is 384 pages. Next, on March 19th, we have A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. It says it's a witty horror debut. Mexican Gothic meets The Lie Tree, which I don't know what The Lie Tree is, by way of Oscar Wilde and Mary Shelley. So that's a lot, again, to live up to. A captivating tale of two Victorian gentlemen hiding their relationship away in a botanical garden. Oh, who embark on a Frankenstein-style experiment with unexpected consequences. I feel like everything I've been reading lately comes back to Frankenstein. I recently watched the movie Poor Things in theaters, and it was so incredible, and then realized it's also a book, so I need to read that one as well. But that was kind of a Frankenstein retelling as well, but really just out there and absurd, but interesting, and had a lot to say. So maybe this is similar. Yeah, queer, historical, and horror. Awesome. It is an unusual thing to live in a botanical garden, but Simon and Gregor are an unusual pair of gentlemen, aren't they? Hidden away in their glass sanctuary from the disapproving tattle of Victorian London, they are free to follow their own interests without interference. For Simon, this means long hours in his dark basement workshop, working his taxidermical art. Love that. Gregor's business is exotic plants, lucrative but harmless enough, until his latest acquisition, a strange fungus which shows signs of intellect beyond any plant he's seen, inspires him to attempt a masterwork, true intelligent life form plant matter. I'm interested. Driven by the glory he'll earn from the Royal Horticulture Society, for such an achievement, Gregor ignores the flaws in his plan, that intelligence cannot be controlled, that plants cannot be reasoned with, and that the only way his plant beast will flourish is if he uses a recently deceased corpse for the substrate. What is substrate? The experiment, or Chloe as she is named, outstrips even Gregor's expectations, entangling their strange household, but as Gregor's experiment flourishes, he wilts under the cost of keeping it hidden from jealous eyes. The mycelium grows apace in the sultry greenhouse, but who is cultivating whom? Told with wit and warmth, it's an extraordinary tale of family, fungus, and more than a dash of bloody revenge from exciting new voice in queer horror. Yay, that sounds amazing. And the Gothic, I love Gothic with kind of a botanical vibe with the flowers. I think it's going to have a lot of atmosphere with that. And it sounds great. Next, again on March 19th, we have Forgotten Sisters. This is by Cynthia Pelayo. Oh, it just says horror. Straightforward horror. Let's see. Sisters Anna and Jenny live in a historic bungalow in the Chicago River. They are tethered to a disquieting past, and with nowhere else to go, nothing can part them from their family home. Not the maddening creaks of disembodied voices that rattle the old walls, not the inexplicable drownings in the area, or the increasing number of bodies that float by Anna's window. Okay. To stave off loneliness, Anna has a podcast. Oh, yay. Spinning ghostly tales of Chicago's tragic history. But when Anna captures the attention of an ardent male listener, she awakens the possibility of a world outside. As their relationship grows, so do Jenny's fears. More and more people are going missing in the river. And then two detectives come calling. They're looking for a link between the mysteries of the river and what's housed on the banks. Even Anna and Jenny don't understand how dreadful it is, and still can be, when the truth about their unsettled lives begins to surface. This is 303 pages, and again, that comes out on March 19th. Next on March 19th, we have The Woods All Black by Lee Mandello. This is queer horror again, historical fiction, novella, 160 pages, so short one. The Woods All Black is equal parts historical horror, trans romance, and blood-soaked revenge, all set in 1920s Appalachia. Leslie Bruin is assigned to the backwoods township of Spar Creek by the Frontier Nursing Service. Under its unusual mandate, vaccinate the flock, birth babies, and weather the judgments of churchy locals who look at him and see a failed woman. Oh. Forged in the fires of the Western Front and reborn in the cafes of Paris, Leslie believes he can handle whatever is thrown at him, but Spar Creek holds a darkness beyond his nightmares. Oh boy. Something ugly festers within the local congregation. Are we going to get some, like, religion commentary in here too? That should be interesting. And its malice has focused on a young person they insist is an unruly tomboy who must be brought to heel. Violence is bubbling when Leslie arrives, ready to spill over, and he'll have to act fast if he intends to be of use. But the hills enfolding Spar Creek have a mind of their own, and the woods are haunted in ways Leslie does not understand. The Woods All Black is a story of passion, prejudice, and power, an Appalachian period piece that explores reproductive justice and bodily autonomy, the terrors of small-town religiosity, and the necessity of fighting tooth and claw to live as who you truly are. Wow. Next one, this is rare for me. This is a young adult novel, but again, it's going to be young adult mystery. And this is a queer thriller as well. So I've got a lot of queer books on this list, and I'm excited because I did not read enough this year. And this is called Where Sleeping Girls Lie. Again, this cover is stunning, by Farida Abike Liamide. I'm so sorry, Farida. I definitely don't know how to say that. In Where Sleeping Girls Lie, a YA contemporary mystery, the New York Times bestselling author of Ace of Spades. Oh, I've not read Ace of Spades, but I've heard great things about that one as well. Again, another queer young adult thriller. A girl new to boarding school. Ace of Spades, I think, was in a boarding school as well. That's interesting. Discovers dark secrets and cover-ups after her roommate disappears. It's like I keep stumbling into a dark room, searching for the switch to make things bright again. To make me remember, but the switch isn't there. Was it there before? Sadeh Hussein is starting her 3rd year of high school, this time at the prestigious Alfred Nobel Academy boarding school. After being homeschooled all her life and feeling like a magnet for misfortune, she's not sure what will happen. What she doesn't expect, though, is for her roommate Elizabeth to disappear after Sadeh's first night, or for people to think she had something to do with it. Not Elizabeth. With rumors swirling around her, Sadeh catches the attention of the most popular girls in school, collectively known as the Unholy Trinity. Ugh, gag. And they bring her into their fold. Between learning more about them, especially Persephone, who Sadeh finds herself drawn to, playing catch-up in class and trying to figure out what happened to Elizabeth, Sadeh has a lot on her plate. It doesn't help that she's already dealing with grief from the many tragedies in her family. And then a student is found dead. It better not be Elizabeth. The more Sadeh investigates, the more she realizes that there's more to the Alfred Nobel Academy and its students than she realized. Secrets lurk around every corner and beneath every surface. Secrets that rival even her own. Dun dun dun. 416 pages. This is on the longer side. Again on March 19th, this is a big day in publishing. We have The Mystery Writer by Sulari Gentile. I read The Woman in the Library by this author last year or the year before, and I really enjoyed it. It was super meta, and it was about writers. And it sounds like this one, again, is going to be about writers, so I feel like I will enjoy this. It says there's nothing easier to dismiss than a conspiracy theory until it turns out to be true. When Theodosia, love that name. When Theodosia Benton abandons her career path as an attorney and shows up on her brother's doorstep with 2 suitcases, an unfinished novel, she expects to face a few challenges. Will her brother support her ambition or send her back to finish her degree? Does she even have what it takes to be a successful writer? What Theo never expects is to be drawn into a hidden literary world, in which identity is something that can be lost and remade for the sake of an audience. Again, I'm getting this meta quality that I really liked in the last one. When her mentor, a highly successful author, is brutally murdered, Theo wants the killer to be found and justice to be served. Then the police begin looking at her brother Gus as their prime suspect, and Theo does the unthinkable in order to protect him. But the writer has left a trail, a thread out of the labyrinth in the form of a story. Gus finds that thread and follows it, and in his attempt to save his sister, he inadvertently threatens the foundations of the labyrinth itself. To protect the carefully constructed narrative, Theo Benton and everyone looking for her will have to die. Wow, that's dramatic. Says a literary thriller that turns the world of books and authors upside down, and where a writer's voice is a thing to be controlled and weaponized to the peril of everyone who loves a good story. Oh, is this gonna be like one of those where like, if you're reading this, you're in trouble? Because that kind of gets to me in books. I like that. And this again is 400 pages, so on the longer side. Okay, and we have one more book in March that I want to talk to you about, and I believe this one is horror. Yeah, gothic horror. This is called Diavola. I may be saying that wrong. Diavola by Jennifer Marie Thorne. This cover is absolutely haunting. We're following Anna. Anna has only 2 rules for the annual Pace Family Destination Vacations. Tread lightly and survive. It isn't easy when she's the only one in the family who doesn't quite seem to fit. Her twin brother Benny goes with the flow so much he's practically dissolved, and her older sister Nicole is so used to everyone, including her blandly docile husband and 2 kids, falling in line, that Anna often ends up in trouble for simply asking a question. Mom seizes every opportunity to question her life choices, and Dad, when not reminding everyone who has paid for this vacation, just wants some peace and quiet. The gorgeous remote villa in tiny Monteperso seems like a perfect place to endure so much family togetherness. That is, until things start going off the rails. The strange noises at night, the unsettling warnings from the local villagers, and oh, the dark, violent past of the villa itself. Jennifer Thorne skewers all too familiar family dynamics in this sly, wickedly funny vacation gothic. Beautifully unhinged and deeply satisfying, Diavola is a sharp twist on the classic haunted house story, exploring loneliness, belonging, and the seemingly inescapable bonds of family mythology. This is 304 pages. There's a note here that says, warning, may invoke feelings of irritation, dread, and despair that come with large family gatherings. Okay, this is gonna be funny. And that sounds great. And that, again, that is March 26th, Diavola. And that's it, y'all. Those are 27 books that I am anticipating in the first quarter of 2024, January through March. If I have missed anything on here, please let me know down in the comments. I'm sure there are ones that I still want to read that I've not captured in this video. So of course, let me know. If I've convinced you to pick any of these up, then let me know in the comments as well. I'd be interested to hear that. And that's gonna be it. I do this video every quarter, so look out in about February for the next one to come out, and that's gonna have April, May, and June new releases. Also, I will link the playlist of my other quarterly anticipated books if you're interested in checking those out. And that's gonna be it for me today, y'all. Don't forget that life is short, so read Riley. Cheers, and goodbye! Get out your Goodreads, get out your library. Why do I always go Brooklyn? What? That doesn't make sense. Did I not copy this right? McCulloch. Is she Scottish? Olivia has no idea who can... Olivia has no idea who... All are in various states of one body a Stark. What the hell does that mean? And the egotistical antics of the hotel's new owner, amid interruptions from unknown... Now I'm going Canadian. What is happening? Dear Theodosia, what to say to... Survive the night. Everyone in their... Oh, what? Okay. Driven by the glory he'll earn from the royal horticulture...